J-Dub is back at it here to give everyone another Walking Dead Season 9 episode reaction video. But before I continue with that, it's extremely important if you're not caught up to the point where I am in rewatching or watching The Walking Dead that you take the initiative and pay attention to this episode title, which of course I'll put in the description for you. If that's the case and you find out that you're not caught up, I highly suggest that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And I mean major spoilers. This will be The Walking Dead Season 9, episode number 15. The title of this episode is called The Calm Before. This is my reaction review recap of the episode. The fair has started at the Kingdom, and Alpha leads an attack on one of the caravans from the hilltop going to the Kingdom. Daryl and Michonne arrive with Judith, Henry, Lydia, and Connie, reuniting with Carol and Ezekiel. Michonne brings all the leaders from the communities to apologize for Alexandria forgetting its relationships, and that Alexandria will give asylum to Lydia, and to establish a mutual protection pact, knowing that Alpha will likely retaliate because of the events. To affirm the pact, Ezekiel has the community sign Michonne's charter, and then starts arranging for small combined force to travel to the hilltop to make sure it is secure from an attack from the Whisperers. And as the fair continues, Alpha has snuck into the fair, posing as one of the Alexandria fairgoers from the caravan, and gathers intel about the Kingdom and other communities. Lydia is saving a seat for Henry when Alpha quietly sits next to her and gestures for her to stay quiet. And outside the theater, Alpha tries to convince Lydia to come with her, but Lydia rejects, and Alpha tells her that she is not strong and no longer part of her group, and then departs. And then earlier that day, Daryl's small force leave for the hilltop to meet up with the Highwaymen en route. The Highwaymen point them to a group of hilltop residents that were killed by Alpha. The group decides to split up to look for any survivors. That night, Daryl, Michonne, Carol, and Humiko are attacked by walkers and take them out one by one until the Whisperers surround them. Beta emerges. Apparently he got away or got out of the elevator shaft from the trees and tells them to drop their weapons. "You just had to give me the girl," he growls at Daryl, telling him that the deal is now off. Later, at the Whisperers' new camp, Alpha, now out of her disguise, and this is later at night, so this seems to be something that happens later, joins her people and approaches Daryl and company, who are now tied to a tree. After announcing that her daughter is no longer a concern, Alpha takes out a shotgun and tells Daryl to come with her alone. And then at dawn, Alpha forces Daryl to the top of a cliff where a gargantuan horde of walkers and Whisperers walk beneath them. This is a lot of people, a lot of walkers, a lot of Whisperers. She tells him that his friends at the camp are fine and that she has marked off a line which the extent of their lands, or the extent of where their lands are, that she doesn't want anybody to cross. But the next time people cross onto her land, she'll release the horde onto theirs. Daryl asks if she killed Lydia, and Alpha tells him that she didn't kill and doubts that Daryl can protect her anyways. He tells her that she's wrong and leaves and reunites with his friends. And then back at the camp, Alpha in private begins to tear up over the loss of her daughter, or the loss of her daughter not wanting to come back with her. However, a Whisperer accidentally witnesses her crying. In response, Alpha actually winds up killing the Whisperer by stabbing the Whisperer in the neck, making sure no one ever sees her being weak. As a sign of weakness that might make her not be Alpha anymore. I guess that's why she does it. And then as Daryl's group walks their way back to the Kingdom, they find a beaten Sadiq tied up to a tree, and then Sadiq is untied and points them to a nearby hill. To their horror and dismay, they find a line of 10 decapitated heads on pikes that make up Alpha's border. We have Ozzy, Alec, DJ, Frankie, Tammy Rose, Rodney, Addie, Enid, Tara, and to Carol's whore, Henry. Very, very crazy moment in The Walking Dead. And that is meant to signify Alpha's territory border. Later in the kingdom, Siddiq addresses the community to deliver the tragic news. He explains that Alpha left him alive to tell a story of their evil that happened and to drive the communities apart again. But instead, Siddiq tells a different story. Before the end, the prisoners were found by Ozzy, Alec, and DJ, who gave them a chance to fight back. The prisoners, the people that got their heads cut off, essentially, fought like hell to the end, protecting each other like family, even though some of them didn't even know each other, which is very true, taking down several Whispers. Though they failed in the end, they died like heroes, which is how Siddiq wants them to be remembered and honored. And then sometime later, Daryl and Lydia return to the borderline, and Lydia leaves the necklace Henry made for her on the ground by the pike that held Henry's head. As the two walk away, snow flurries begin to fall as winter is coming. Dun, 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 dun. Wait, this isn't Game of Thrones, never mind. And that's how the episode ends. So, I mean, the episode was not really boring, but nothing was happening, and all of a sudden, boom, you get this pike lineup, which is straight out of the Walking Dead comic book, with different people being the victims in the Walking Dead TV series. Now, I remember watching this episode live years ago, and I was, Ozzy, Alec, and DJ. I would have hoped DJ would have survived longer. He seemed like he was Michonne's bodyguard. Of course, now Scott takes on that role. Rodney and Addie, didn't give a shit about them. Tammy Rose, didn't care at all about her. I'm sure Earl is upset about that, but it is what it is. Frankie, but Enid really got to me. I really liked Enid's character, although she didn't do a lot on the show. She had her own episode or something. Well, she started her own episode, JSS, which turned into a crazy episode. And then she had the thing with Carl that you thought was going to be a long-term thing, and you thought Enid was going to replace Sophia from the comic books, because Carl has a relationship with Sophia in the comic books that lasts a long time. And then he gets into something with Lydia, and it kind of goes back and forth. I'm not really sure all the details, because I never actually read the comic books, but I know a YouTuber that talks a lot about the Walking Dead comic book. Trev Chan too, check it out. And then Tara. I didn't like Tara's character. She was cool when she started on the show, when she was introduced in the Governor episode in Season 4. In Season 5, she was okay. But then Season 6, 7, and 8, Tara got on my fucking nerves. I don't really know why, but I just didn't like Tara. But in Season 9, Tara actually was decent again, which is unfortunate. And then, of course, the reveal of Henry being the last Pike victim, the horror on Daryl's face, the delirious and can't believe it, am I dreaming Carol look, like Carol is gonna fuck Alpha up for this shit. So pretty crazy end to an episode. And then very touchy moment with Siddiq says, Ozzy, Alec, and DJ gave us a chance, and everybody fought back. That was very touching. Crazy episode. As far as the score, I think I gave it a lower score when I first reviewed this episode years ago. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 now, because I think I said the first part was boring, but it led up to something, and bam, it was crazy. And then the character of the episode, this episode wasn't really a character-focused episode. It kind of had everybody in it. Typically, I would have gave this to Alpha, but with all my hatred over the years of this character, I'm gonna have a change of heart, and I'm gonna give the character of the episode to Tara. Even though she was featured a little bit in the episode, and maybe other people had a bigger role, like Lydia actually had a bigger role. I should have gave it to Lydia or Alpha, but I'm gonna give it to Tara, because Tara was good. She signed the charter, and she was a good character in the end. And I kind of miss her now on The Walking Dead. After watching Here's Negan, after watching season 10, the show, it would be nice if Tara was occasionally on the show, but she's not. She's dead. So you've heard what I had to say. It is, of course, now your turn. So if you're a fan of The Walking Dead, make sure you smash that like button If you know anybody that would be interested in this, go ahead and share the video with them. Don't forget to leave me a comment with your thoughts on the episode or anything Walking Dead related. Which Pike death affected you the most? And of course, last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.